Hi, I'm Coach Maggie, Certified Health and Wellness Coach, and I want to welcome you to 30 Days to Create Your Healthy Living Blueprint. I intentionally decided to use the theme of a blueprint because so often we are trying to get healthy, we're trying to turn things around, but we don't even know where to start. I've never had the pleasure of building a home from scratch, but my husband and I did add on to our home many years ago, probably about almost 30 years ago. We added in a second floor. And I remember the contractor asking us different things, what we wanted. And really, I'm sure you've all seen blueprints. They just give you a general idea. Looking at them, you just see these different squares and different shapes. There really isn't a lot of detail, but it gives you the framework, really the background of what you're going to end up with. And so over these 4 weeks, that's what I'm wanting to give you, a blueprint that I'm not creating, you are. And it's going to help you start on the ground floor using 7 pillars to build a foundation for you to be successful. So come along with me on this journey. Thank you for investing in yourself. You know, we often invest in other things, and too often we don't invest on becoming better. We're often looking for a quick solution, but the fact is there is not an easy solution. This takes work, it takes commitment, it takes effort. And you will stumble, we all do, but you have to get back up and determine that the results that you want are worth the work. So let's get started. So first of all, I want to give you some groundwork. I have included the handouts. So I want you to take time each week or however often you want to do this. Some of you may be ready just to dive in, and you may decide you want to do it maybe over a weekend or a long week. Others may feel like you need more time. However it's going to work for you is however it should, and then for you to get the results that you want. So first of all, we're going to get into self-care. So I'm going to share my screen with you and we will get started. So let me do that. Okay. All right. So one of the things I feel it's so very important is, again, to start with some of the basics. Just as I said, a blueprint, just like the diagram here, it's not giving us the details. It's not telling us wall color. It's not telling us all of those things that really make a home your home, but it's giving the framework. And that's what we're trying to build. And that is so very key. I want to break it down for you. Session 1 is all about, like I said, self-care. So very important. I can't give out if I'm empty. And too often, that's exactly what we're doing. We burned ourselves up. We have no energy. We have nothing left to give. And yet, there's still much that we need to give. So self-care is so very important. And then next, we're going to look at how food affects how we feel, our energy level, what we do, even our motivation. It affects everything. We won't get into the particulars of diet and all of that, but we will give you some basic ideas, things to get you started. And so this is very important. Next, it's all about movement. I hesitate to use the word exercise because we have an aversion to that word, but it's the idea of moving. It doesn't have to be that you belong to a gym or that you jog 10 miles a day or anything like that. It's taking the things that you do, your life as you're living it. If you're a young mom, it may mean, you know, planning times to run after the kids, to play outside, to do some fun things. For me, I love gardening, and gardening is hard work. And so it's digging, it's pulling weeds. When I come in after a day in the yard, I have worked every muscle in my body. So trust me, gardening is work. So again, the idea and the importance of staying active. Next, we will get into some lifestyle habits, sleep, reducing stress. Oh my goodness. Relationships, they are so very important. And last but not least, our spiritual nurturing. That is so very, very important. So anyway, those are the 7 pillars. So I hope that you are ready to jump on. As we go through, often I will be going back and forth between the slides as well as your handouts. The other thing I want you to keep handy is your actual blueprint. It was in the handouts. And as we go over each of the different areas, I want you to be continually thinking about, all right, based on the things that you've learned, things that you've, figured out about yourself, what are things you can do? It's not enough just to say, okay, there's a problem and you need to fix it. You need to come up with a solution. So for each of the 7 pillars, there are 2 I will statements. And it's going to be, for example, I will. So as we talk today about self-care, what are 2 things that you're going to start doing? And again, if it's too vague, you won't do it. So, for example, for me, I love taking a bath, but I usually rush, so I tend to be that shower person. But I'm wanting to make that more of a habit. So, for example, for me, I might say, I will take a leisurely long bath twice a week. And that's not enough. When? So maybe for me, it's Wednesday and Saturdays. All right. And then one more step. What time? Because again, if I just know Wednesday and Saturday, Wednesday gets here and suddenly it's 10 o'clock and I'm like, oh, I missed it. But if I say, what is a good time for me? How about 8 o'clock? Done with dinner, clean the kitchen, relaxed a little bit. Yeah, 8 o'clock. So then I put 8 o'clock. So now I know every Wednesday, every Saturday, 8 o'clock, I'm going to take a bath. And it may take some time, but again, the more we can write things down, the more likely we are to do it. So keep this handy because you will be using this blueprint throughout the whole course. So with self-care, let's take a look. First of all, self-care is not selfish. We're hearing a lot about it, but again, often we either think it means we've got to go away to a spa or go on a vacation, but it can be the simplest things, something that regenerates, gives you another charge, it gets you excited, it helps you relax. And so self-care is so very important. But again, what do you think about self-care? For a lot of people, especially women, we tend to feel like when there's time, I'll do it when I have extra time. And we miss out on just the day-to-day things. So what do you think about self-care? It's important for you to think about that. Many people think, I'm doing fine. I don't really need that. That's all fluff. But again, we've got to constantly be giving back and getting ourselves in the place so that we are able to give. And we're not going to snap at people and get irritated really easily or get offended easily. So we need to do that. One of the things, and hopefully you've seen that in the handouts, is I want you to think about those non-negotiable things. You can't negotiate those. If you're a young mom, you either are going to get food on the table or no one is. So that's a non-negotiable. Maybe your kids are grown and gone, but maybe you're by yourself or your husband doesn't cook. A non-negotiable would be cooking. If no one's going to clean, that's a non-negotiable too. But I also asked you to think about some things that are ones that are negotiable. So those are the things that, it'd be nice, but if they don't happen, I'm sad, but they didn't happen. But what I want you to think about in the coming days and weeks is the possibility of joining and combining those things. so that you're able to do the things that you have to do along with the things that you want to do. So for example, I like gardening, but I have books that I need to read and things that I need to do. So I like to listen to books on tape. I like to listen to podcasts. Those are things that you can do. Maybe you want to get out and get that exercise, but you've got young kids. Well, get them to go along with you. Put little ones in the stroller. Combine those things. Again, the same with cleaning your kitchen or doing cleaning. Again, a lot of times when I'm cleaning, I'm also listening to books on tape. You're in the kitchen cooking, maybe you can see your TV. That's your time to catch up on your favorite TV show. So try to marry the things that you have to do with the things that you enjoy doing so that it's more pleasurable. So I want you to really think about doing that. So what are some of those things that you can do? Start thinking about it. It's so, so very key. This week, and again, just as often as you can, look for those little opportunities to think, what would it take? Maybe it's just going and sitting outside for just a few minutes, making some lemonade and sitting outside. Maybe it's having a cup of tea. Maybe it means getting up a little bit early in order to enjoy those things that you enjoy doing, but you never seem to have time. I know when my kids were busy, they were in sports, my husband's job, church activities, it just seemed like there was never time. And so sometimes it was getting up a little early. Unfortunately, back in those days, too often it was staying up late. But either way, just trying to carve out time for you to take care of yourself. One of the things that I think is important is make an appointment. Put it on your calendar because it is so very important. You would not consider missing a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment. If someone had invited you over, you wouldn't dare think about, just not showing up or calling at the last minute and saying, "Oh, sorry, got busy." You would make every effort to be there. And this is the same way. This is a high priority because so often when we feel that burnout, when we feel exhausted, when we can't emotionally connect with others, it's because we haven't been taking care of ourselves. There is a buzzword out there in the business world, emotional intelligence, EQ for short. We're familiar with IQ, which is how we process things, how smart we are. But EQ has a lot to do with emotions. And again, when we're not taking care of ourselves, our emotions get frazzled. Like I said, we're more likely to snap at people. We're more likely to get upset, go to tears, get angry, all of those things. And unfortunately, eat the wrong foods. So much of our binge eating is very much emotionally tied. So it is so important that we do take time. We need that time for ourselves. It gives us the rest that we need. And again, self-care is not selfish. So I hope that you have an amazing week as you go through your materials. Go back through this. Think about, journal some thoughts. Journaling is a great thing too. Often, when you're having that day, write down. It helps to write things down. Studies have proven when you set goals, if you write them down, you're more likely to achieve them. So as you're thinking, as you're working through each of the different pillars, begin journaling. Write down on the handouts or start a notebook and start journaling your thoughts. Dig a little deeper. Sometimes it's a little hard because we are so used to doing things on the surface. But over the next weeks, I want you to really dig in and see what is behind all of this. A lot of times, and again, unfortunately, women, this is very common, but we don't feel we're worthy. We don't feel like we should take that time, especially when we have other obligations. But again, we've got to take care. I can be at my best when I've been rested, I've taken care of myself, and I feel good about myself. So again, your assignment is to go through, make sure that you've gone through the handouts, fill in the blanks, and then remember two, at least two. You're going to pick things that you're going to be doing, and you're going to be specific. You're going to put the day and then the frequency. When are you going to do it and what time? And stick to it. Write it on your calendar. Let your family know. Let your friends know, and stick to it. So anyway, I'm excited for the next weeks because I feel that we're building this foundation for a structure that will stand. And over time, as you make these things a habit, then you can build on it. That's when it's fun. You know, the building of the project is great, you know, the blueprint, and it's exciting to see the structure come up. But then when you can finally start decorating and doing those things, that comes after you've laid the groundwork. So for now, we're going to work on these pillars. And along the way, as these things become a habit, then you can start adding those really fun things along the way. I'd love to hear how you're doing. Definitely message me. I hope that you follow me on Facebook. And ladies, that you're in my Facebook group, Healthy Living Made Easy. We can be healthy, and it doesn't have to be hard. So take care, and God bless.